in people's minds, they said, this is the type of person that should not be on the planet. This is the type of human that we don't want on the earth. This is the type of family that we don't want in our community and in our neighborhood. And once they got convinced of that false narrative, they felt emboldened and almost heroic for threatening us.
In the quaint mountain town of Kittredge.
This is in the town of Kittredge.
A town divided literally by a creek.
This small piece of land has been a huge battle.
She calls herself the Wicked Witch of
On
the
one
West.
hand, she's a pariah in the town of Kittredge because she blocked access to the
I
land.
bought a house with a creek running through the backyard. That's what was advertised
Now,
to
many
me.
people thought that land was part of a park.
Jefferson County sued Romero in an effort to seize the disputed land.
When you get people in positions of power who are corrupt, they abuse that in order to take. So my name is Tara Lynn Romero, and my TikTok handle is Real Wicked Witch of the West. Prior owners, to my understanding, happily allowed the public to use their backyard just as every other prior homeowner had. But in 2020, everything changed. The volume exploded overnight and it became completely untenable. It went from neighborhood use to a full-blown, water park that was very popular on the mommy boards. The very first confrontation that blew up on social media was an interaction that I had with a grandmother and her 2 young children. The kids had brought shovels into my backyard and they were digging up the creek bank, really treating it like a beach. So I walked up to her and I said, "Hey, would you mind not having your children dig in my backyard? And if possible, maybe they can go dig in the playground where there's a sandbox." I wasn't screaming, but I did startle her. I don't think she was expecting anyone to come talk to her. Her daughter went on Nextdoor and posted this big hyperbolic tale about this nasty woman who had screamed at her mother and terrified the children, and it really blew up from there. I didn't think too much of it. I thought, you know what? It's just one hyperbolic lady spreading a rumor on the internet, and it's not going to go anywhere. Unfortunately, that was naive of me, because what ended up happening is other people started coming into my backyard. And when I would tell them the same things, hey, please don't dig, please respect my property, they were like, oh, you're that lady. People in my local community and beyond suddenly were posting anything and everything online about me and my property. They posted my deed. They posted information about the price of the house. They called me a rich white woman from California, or they told me to go back to Mexico. They told tall tales of me harassing children and families with vicious attack dogs and scaring grandmothers. They spoke about my fiance intimidating families as well. And then when we would call the cops on them, eventually for trespassing,
If you don't get off the property, I'll call the cops.
they would post about that. It just became like, who can kind of outpost the next person? The stories got wilder and wilder and wilder as time went on, and more people felt that they wanted to be a part of it in a very toxic way. It didn't take too long for it to cross over from online vitriol and social media bullying into real life danger. And I think what really fueled it is people felt emboldened to threaten my family physically, to state online proudly that they wanted to burn down my house, because what they had been seeing were, false rumors. And in people's minds, they said, this is the type of person that should not be on the planet. This is the type of human that we don't want on the earth. This is the type of family that we don't want in our community and in our neighborhood. And once they got convinced of that false narrative, they felt emboldened and almost heroic for threatening us online. But then they would drive by the house, right? My address got leaked, I got doxxed, and we were having people drive by the house, with masks on. We had to invest in a several $1,000 security system. We had to do safety drills in the house because we really had so many people who were coming into my property and driving by my house with the sole intent of intimidating us and harassing us. I naively assumed that this could simply be addressed by sharing the truth and sharing facts. Sharing a survey that I had. I thought for sure if people see the survey, they'll see that it's my property. They'll stop alleging that I'm stealing it. They'll stop calling me a thief. They'll stop cussing me out. And instead what happened is they just blocked me. And if they weren't blocking me, they were accusing me of bribing the surveyor. They said, there's no way it's her land. She must have paid off the surveyor. We don't trust her. And when I got blocked, my fiance would be in there swinging and he would get blocked. And then we'd have friends in there trying to advocate for us and they would also be blocked. So very quickly and very effectively, they were able to silence my voice. They were able to silence any sort of facts that I would have been able to share to substantiate my viewpoint that I owned the land that I was paying taxes on. And it quickly became very dangerous because I had no defense, no way of sharing, who owned what or my side of the story. After being blocked and having my voice silenced on every single local community page on, Facebook and Nextdoor, I went to TikTok. So on TikTok, I'm called the Real Wicked Witch of the West. And the reason I chose that name is because a member of my community who was bullying me for fun, and she had changed her profile picture to Glenda the Good Witch, and she was calling me the Wicked Witch. When I first moved into the neighborhood and started exercising my property rights shortly thereafter, she sent me a message and she said, "Unwelcome to the neighborhood, witch." And I thought, you know what? If someone like that comes to my property, cusses me out, flips me off, trespasses, and is just a general bully, if she's the good witch, I guess I am the wicked witch, right? Because I am the opposite of her. I went to TikTok because I needed a place to express what had happened to me. When I went to TikTok, I had endured, at that point, we had endured, my family, about a year of being taunted and bullied and threatened and silenced and lied about. And humor, I was like, I've got to find a way to laugh at all this. I've got to find a way to artistically express what happened to me. I didn't have any followers. I had zero platform. And my very first posts were all about my interactions with women in the community who were telling me that I stole the land.
You don't own the land. You've been coming here forever.
And even if I did buy it, it belonged to them.
We're not going anywhere, okay? You might have bought it, but it belongs to us.
And they went viral. I mean, right off the bat. From there, I gained, 15,000 followers overnight. That quickly continued to grow and grow. And what started out as a forum for artistic expression to literally just cope with what had happened quickly became a platform for sharing my side of the story and for sharing my survey and for sharing the videos that I had gathered of us being harassed. I mean, endless videos of us being cussed at and harassed and antagonized. When the whole time before I had a TikTok, a voice on TikTok, everyone believed I was the one harassing others. It changed my life, and it changed how I started to use social media in order to basically pull an Uno reverse on what was a very traumatic and prolonged and unnecessary situation over my property. It got to such a level of explosiveness within the community that the government did get involved. And quite frankly, the community was sending emails, they were making phone calls, they were asking for the government to get involved. The government ended up appeasing local outcry for them to do something about the property dispute. And ultimately, the government did end up doing exactly what the people wanted. They sued me for adverse possession, they sued me for prescriptive easement. They were going after anything and everything that they possibly could in order to take my property from me.